Rob Norton from the International Plant Nutrition Institute based in Horsham. I suppose as every year, nitrogen and phosphorus are the two big ticket items, but we'll just consider firstly nitrogen. Nitrogen removals have been pretty heavy this year. The amounts of nitrogen going out the gate have been high. In terms of balancing that off, a lot of growers didn't put that much nitrogen on. We see, very apparent efficient use of nitrogen. And that's because the season was one that had a long period available for mineralisation. So that was on the plus side. On the negative side of the nitrogen balance, there's three things that went. Firstly, on the lighter soils, we saw leaching of nitrogen. The second part is where soils were flooded, denitrification occurs. That is, that nitrate is converted to N2 gases, such as dinitrogen, just the nitrogen in the air we breathe, and as well as nitrous oxides. The consequence of that is that nitrogen's lost, disappears, and every time the soil gets flooded, the nitrate level is virtually reset back to zero. So that process of continually resetting nitrate from ammonium and organic matter was something that was going on, and we were fortunate with the good spring that followed on and allowed mineralisation to sort of keep up with the crop. The third thing to think about going forward is that not only is the cupboard quite bare with nitrogen, but we've got big stubbles. And those big stubbles are going to demand nitrogen as they break down. So the strategy is to think maybe in this season we have more upfront nitrogen than we might have had in our previous plans. The other strategy that growers can adopt is to think about a nitrogen-rich strip, which is a strip of nitrogen fertiliser across the paddock at seeding. Run 100 kilograms of nitrogen, maybe UAN out through a quad bike, or a strip of urea drilled in, or a strip of urea top dressed just across the paddock before seeding, and then just use that as a monitoring strip. And what that tells them is what's the nitrogen processes going on outside of that strip, and are they keeping up with the extra maybe 50 or 100 kilograms of N they put in the strip. If there's no difference, then the mineralisation processes and any loss processes are actually keeping up with what was that extra nitrogen available. Good strategy, I think. Most growers would be at a level with phosphorus, with their phosphorus soil tests, of being about a maintenance level. Probably what that means is you would then look to balance off removal in the grain with what you would look to replace that the following year. And that long-term strategy of replacement is a pretty good strategy. Phosphorus offtakes can be quite big, and so balancing that off is important. When in the dry years we reduce phosphorus input because we took off a little, but in the better years we need to increase our replacement because we took off more. Yeah, sulphur's one. There's a couple of mobile nutrients that in the lighter soils in particular maybe got left down the profile. Sulphur and boron. Sulphur tests, deep soil N tests. You can also get a deep soil sulphur done at the same time. And some of the other nutrients, the micronutrients, they are important in place to place. Potassium on light soils, light acid soils, particularly if you've cut hay in the year or two beforehand. Big hay yields removes 10 times more potassium cutting hay compared to grain. The point about 4R nutrient stewardship is that you change one thing, you have to review the other three rights if you change the source rate, time or place. Soil testing is the fundamental principle, the first step principle in establishing where you are in terms of nutrient demand and supply. In terms of depth, it often varies as you go from one nutrient to another. A mobile nutrient like nitrogen, sulphur, might need deeper soil testing. We certainly found with potassium in Western Australia on light acid soils, and potassium and sulphur, taking a 0 to 10 and then backing it up with a 10 to 30 gives you a really good, a better estimate of the response, because those nutrients might be deep. And the roots of crops go down 60, 80, 100 centimetres depending on the year. So having a deep sample is useful. We don't have good calibrations for those deep tests, but they certainly aid us identifying where we might have stratification. Replace what you lost that went out the gate, and to establish your response where you are in terms of the responsiveness, soil test, and think particularly this year about more nitrogen at seeding rather than sort of delaying it too late into the season.